All right, team. Let's get right into a weekly plan here, and we're going to focus on making it very, very, very easy. So the first thing that we need to know is whether we are one time framing up or one time framing down on a daily chart. And as you can see here, clearly we broke out of this area here on the 7 day balance. So we're one time framing up on a daily chart. If we were to trade below Friday's low. Let me delete this area here. Then we'll obviously start balancing, and until that happens, we are not going to discuss that. So let's focus on the things that are important. Number one is we're one time framing up daily, weekly, and monthly. So first thing I do is I just go to last session high, and I go here, and we'll get the last session low, which would be right here. How can I forget that? It was pretty much our pivot. So yeah, that the low was 15 on that one, 15 and a half. So the low was a session 15. So make sure that I got it here, 15 and a quarter. So we changed that to 15, and that was the low. Um, Very satisfying. What we're going to do basically is we're going to look at the single prints that were left on during the Friday session. You can see we got single print over here, we got single print over here, we got single print over here. So we're going to start looking at the structure and find out what are the potential hurdles that the ES may face next week, if any. So we don't know. But the most important thing is that where we're going to pivot from. So if you take a look at it, a weekly TP3 uh, last week was nothing more, nothing less than 4867. So 4867 was somewhere around here. That's our T3 last week. So what we are going to do is we're going to pivot from 4860 62 area. 60 was our T3 on a daily plan. So obviously, if you're not on the premium service, you are not seeing the daily plans. So 60 will be our pivot for this week. So we're going to pivot from there, and then we're going to work our plan back down. So, if you're part of the premium service, you also have access to this indicator that will print. You can load all the information in here, and it stays there for the whole entire week. So the shark pivot for the week is going to be um, 4860. So 4860. That's the pivot. All right. So let's look for downside targets first. Well, as we broke out of balance, we broke out of the 39 and a half area, 40 area. That was a 7 day balance. So if we were to come down into this area here, I would think that a retest of the balance breakout is not out of the question. But obviously, the way that you're going to address the situation is you got to look for potential break of this single print. So if we start trading below the single prints here, then it's an opportunity that weakness is being developed, and then we'll start looking for these areas here. So target number one below pivot, we're going to 48.40. That's the way I see it. So we're looking for a retest of this area here. If we were to get below that, then what is likely to happen is that we're going to take a look and find out what is the midpoint of this balance here. And it seems to be the 4792, where we have another it's not a single print, but it's a fair value gap. So we're going to focus on this area here, 4792, and that will be the second target that I'm looking for, 4792. So weekly 4792, and the 4792 fails in this area here at the 50% of that, then we're going to target the low of the balance zone, which would be 47.46. So 47.46. Um, yeah, so we're going to be working the daily balance first before we go into the weekly balance areas. The weekly targets might be a little uh, bigger because the zone for the weekly goes all the way down to 48.20. So if we were to break below 47.46, then we get, potentially get a a fill of this particular spike here. And then we got start getting into these areas here. As you can see, we have a poor low like right around here. That's indication of unfinished business in this area, and so we're going to monitor for that. And even though we didn't close with a spike on Friday, so we'll consider lack of excess at the top. So there might be some unfinished business there. So we have identified the three targets to the downside. So now let's take a look at the targets to the upside. So that's when it gets a little tricky, right? Because okay, so where are we gonna go if we're never been over here? Okay, well, that's what we use the tools that we have. So the first target is definitely gonna be a 4782 area, or 4882. I'm sorry, 4882 area. Um, Last week's plan called for um, 48.95. So we're going to use that 47.82 here. If we use the daily chart balance, that's what it will look like. So if we were to use the weekly target, we will have to go with let's see what we got here. So our first target should be 49.02. If we go with a daily breakout, because we got two breakouts, our first target should be 82. So what I'm gonna do is, if we're pivoting from 60, we got about 20 points to the upside, 20 points to the downside for our first target. So I kind of like that, just to see, a 40-point range, and then determine where the next move is from there. So let's go to the second target would be 40, naturally speaking, would be 4900. 4900 would be our second target to that area there. And then I will go with 4927. That's our third target. 4927. 4927 will be a 50% extension from, I'm sorry, it will be 100% extension of the balance breakout on the daily chart. So the way that you will look at that would be you measure this area here, right, which is about 90 points, and then you measure this area here, and it'll give you exact 90 points and a half, 90 and a half, whatever. So that is what we call 100% extension of the breakout. Anyway, so that's basically the way I see for the ES for next week. We'll update obviously the daily plans, and from there we can keep an eye on these areas here. Again, if we go with a 50% of the weekly plan, it will take us to 4902, and then 100% extension. So we will have to work this between daily and weekly because we have two breakouts. We got the daily breakout, we got the weekly breakout. So I have to work these two targets simultaneously and see where they go from there. The daily plans, like I said, will get updated, and then we will take it from there. But as of right now, I'll leave all my notes here, and then we'll work the breakouts. I would stand all the spikes. Obviously, as you guys know, I like to work my spikes and gaps, and it's the way I see it. So I'll post the targets, and we'll post the videos, and we'll take it from there. All right. Have a great week.